Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the 8 p.m. kickoff in the Championship. We're at Loftus Road, where Queen's Park Rangers trailed by a goal to nil at the start of the second half. Josh Bowler scoring in the first minute of injury time. A really good left-footed effort. His first left-footed effort aimed at the top corner was charged down, but the ball then deflected back off that block, straight back to Bowler, who hits a really powerful left-footed effort just inside the box. No chance for Dieng. And Blackpool led at half-time. QPR will be frustrated because they made the better start in the first half, but the longer the first half went on, the more Blackpool felt as though they had a foothold in the game. So we need to see a real response here from the home side. Just to tell you, there has been one change at half-time for Blackpool. No changes for QPR, so they go with Timothy Dieng in goal, a back four of Ethan Laird, Rob Dickie, Jimmy Dunn and Kenny Parle. The two holding midfielders are Sam Field and Stefan Johansson. The three ahead of them are Andre Dezell, Tyler Roberts and Ilias Chair, with Lyndon Dykes as the front man. For Blackpool, it is Danny Grimshaw in goal, a back four of Callum Connolly, Marvin Ekpiteta, Rhys Williams and Dominic Thompson. The three in midfield are Lewis Fiorini, Sonny Carey, who comes on for Charlie Patino, and Kenny Dougal. The wide men are goal scorer Josh Bowler and Shane Lavery, with Jerry Yates playing as the front man. It's bouncing around in midfield here as Blackpool trying to get control of it. That one's hooked away by Kenny Parle, headed away here by Ekpiteta. Immediately being closed down there by Cher, but Blackpool keep it alive here, and here's Connolly now. It's a poor ball from him though, and that's a poor bit of play there from Parle as well, giving it back towards Blackpool, but they give it away at midfield, and now it's Roberts playing the ball into Cher. That's a great challenge from Ekpiteta, who is then bundled off the ball by Tyler Roberts, who can't believe that decision has gone against him. But there's such a thing as shoulder to shoulder, and then there's a wrestling move, which is I think what Tyler Roberts did there. That's not, you can't do that. I mean, I know that Tyler Roberts would say that he's just showing a bit of strength, but he's effectively bundled into Ekpiteta, and the ball's not there to be won either. He's just knocked his man over, and of course the home fans won't be happy with that decision. And Roberts still looking towards the referee like he can't believe it, but I think he, well, let's say from his point of view, he would say he was just trying to win the ball back, but just a little bit too much physicality there from the Welsh international. Ball now out for a throw to Blackpool down the left-hand side. And Thompson waiting to take this now, sending it back towards Williams. And back towards goalkeeper Grimshaw. Is being closed down by Dykes. That's one thing that QPR have to do. They have to have the same energy levels they had at the start of the first half to really put some pressure on Blackpool. And hooked up in the air now by Kenny Parle. Dykes had to get back from an offside position that allowed Ekpiteta to get the clearance in. And it's Yates now playing it back towards Carey. Carey now hooking the ball over the top. Yates is chasing this one. He's onside, but it should be just about enough there from Jimmy Dunn to keep the ball alive, and it is out now for a goal kick to QPR in the end. Yates doing his best to try and be a nuisance there. That's an out for QPR, playing out from the back. No real pressing here from Blackpool high up the field. They're trying to make things as difficult as possible, closer to their own goal, rather than trying to spread out across the whole pitch. And pass down the right-hand side here from Laird is cut out by Thompson. QPR now waiting to take the throw. Just looking at their next fixture. QPR at home at the weekend. They're at home to Rotherham United. And then they follow that with a trip to Watford. Whereas Blackpool, following this game, they're away to Burnley in the Lancashire Derby at the weekend. And then they're at home to Bristol City. So those are the next couple of fixtures for these two sides, as QPR now looking to play out from the back, as Bowler putting pressure there on Parle on the left-hand side. And in the end, I think Kenny Parle might have been fouled there as well. As Ilias Cher is now hobbling for QPR. And as we can see here, he was just trying to turn away from Ekpiteta. Ekpiteta wins the challenge, but then sweeps at Ilias Cher. In fairness, I mean, the referee couldn't have been any closer. Andrew Davies almost had to jump out of the way to stop Cher bumping into him, so the referee certainly got a good view. Didn't feel there's anything wrong with that, but that's one that Cher may still be feeling, as Rob Dickie now with a decent run for QPR. His pass is cut out here by Ekpiteta. Good play as well from the Blackpool captain, as pressure here now on Sonny Carey. And the ball now hooked up towards Lavery, does well to hold it up, and then in towards Sonny Carey. And there's space over on the right-hand side here for Blackpool. That's where the ball has gone. Here is Bowler now, Back towards Connolly. And Connolly brought down there by Sher. Free kick to Blackpool. And Sher still trying to ask the question of the referee and the fourth official, but it has been given as a free kick to Blackpool. It's Connolly now doing his best to waste a few seconds here before he takes his free kick. I think just to try and rile up the home fans and players. Blackpool in a good position in this game. Although just as I say that, that's a horrible shanked clearance there from Danny Grimshaw. Blackpool keeper rightly puts his hand up to apologise because there wasn't any real pressure on him, and he didn't have to just hoof the ball out in the way that he did, giving possession back to QPR. Back now towards Dazelle on the halfway line, playing it forward. Good header away by Dougal. May still be kept alive here down the right-hand side by Laird, who then crashes into Lavery. Looks like Shane Lavery should be okay, but there was a bit of contact there on the Blackpool winger. It's now with Reece Williams looking to restart play. Hasn't got too many short options. Decides to leave it in the end for Danny Grimshaw. This is going to be a long clearance from the Blackpool keeper now. Just waiting to see where his teammates are. Long clearance now from Grimshaw up towards the edge of the QPR penalty area. Good strong header away by Dickey back towards the halfway line. Roberts trying to touch that one on towards Dykes, but that one's been won back and now played back towards Grimshaw. And a long clearance here from Grimshaw up towards the right-hand side. That one is headed away by Jimmy Dunn. And Sam Field now getting back into that sort of additional left-back position that he played at times in the first half. There's Connolly now with the throw for Blackpool. Stolen a few yards there, which has frustrated the QPR fans. I mean, in fairness, it's one of the easiest defences on a football pitch, isn't it? To steal about 10 yards from where a throw-on is supposed to be taken. It's a long throw, though, from Connolly, and it gets through to Yates. Yates stops on the line. Couldn't quite keep the ball alive, but he still manages to win it back off Kenny Powell. Needs some support, though. His pass in towards Carey. Carey asked a little bit too much there of Sonny Carey. Tried to get into the penalty area. Dickey now clears it up towards the halfway line. It's headed back where Dominic Thompson can then roll it back towards goalkeeper Danny Grimshaw. And Blackpool there a bit more confident in the way they play out from the back as Thompson down the left tried to keep that ball going after a touch on from Fiorini, but in the meantime Laird's got back and he's able to win that for QPR. Ball now played back towards the goalkeeper Dieng. He is being closed down here by Fiorini, can't take too long on the ball, and his clearance doesn't go too far either, straight to Dougal. Dougal's pass now towards Fiorini was just a little bit under hit. There was a second chance there potentially for Yates, but he couldn't get on the ball either. And eventually it's a clearance here from Rob Dickey, which Ekpiteta should get to first. He's been closed down by Ilias Sher, but he still hooks the ball towards Callum Connolly. And then he plays the ball up towards Yates down the right-hand side. But that one is won back by Jimmy Dunn. He goes back to Dieng, and QPR now trying to play out from the back. Johansson, haven't seen too much of him. As a holding central midfielder, he needs to get into the game a little bit more. Nice play there between Sher and Roberts down the left-hand side. Now played in towards Dykes, back towards Roberts. Sher carried on his run. He gets to the edge of the area, lifts a ball into the edge of the 6-yard box. Well, it's not the most orthodox save there from Grimshaw, but he gets it away from the area. Roberts now trying to an effort, and it's an effort on target from Tyler Roberts. Puts his left foot through it, but doesn't get too much power behind it. And it was always going down the middle as well. So a comfortable save in the end for Grimshaw. Certainly more comfortable than the way he went for this cross. I thought he had all day there to position himself to catch that, but it was a sort of quite a nervous sort of batting down with his arms there, and the resulting effort from Roberts straight at the goalkeeper. But again, warning signs here for Blackpool. They don't want to back off too much because QPR will be looking to press wherever they can. It's possession now for Blackpool down the left-hand side. Thompson does well to get away from Dazelle, and then he was brought down by Dazelle. It's going to be a free kick to Blackpool. See from Dazelle's reaction that he's not too impressed with that. A quick run down the scores in the Championship. Birmingham 1, Watford 1 now. It was Hall that had given Birmingham the lead in the first half, and it's Ken Semmer with the equaliser, the powerful, pacey winger there for Watford, giving them an equaliser. Bristol City still lead 2-0 against Luton Town. The goals for Bristol City from Nahki Wells and from Conway. Sykes has been shown a straight red card now for Bristol City. So Luton, although they're 2 down with 20 minutes to go, they are playing against 10 men still. 1-1 between Burnley and Hull City. Rodriguez with the goal for Burnley, cancelling out Tufan's earlier effort for Hull City. Norwich still 2 up against Huddersfield with goals from Sargent and Sinani. Tom Lees has now been shown a straight red card for Huddersfield at the start of that second half as well, so Huddersfield down to 10. Still goalless between Preston and Rotherham. No goals to speak of in that game. Swansea still leading Millwall by 2-0. Manning and Obafemi with the goals for Swansea, both inside the first 12 minutes. Manning's goal was in the first minute. And here at Loftus Road, it is still QPR 0, Blackpool 1. But this is the only 8 o'clock kick-off this evening. QPR on the attack now with the crossing from Dazelle from the right-hand side. That one's headed away and back into midfield. Here is Rob Dickey now to Jimmy Dunn. Field under pressure, going back towards Dunn. Here is Rob Dickey again. But when he goes forward here, Dickey finds that Blackpool are playing quite a high offside line. With QPR in possession on the halfway line, Blackpool are about 30 yards out from their own goal. So there really isn't much space for QPR to work with. And now the home side have been dispossessed. And here comes Jerry Yates pushing forward down the right-hand side. Gets the ball into Bowler. Carey and Yates have carried on their run into the box. Bowler is claiming that it should be a corner. He deliberately leaves the ball because he was expecting a corner kick, and then the linesman just shows that it's a goal kick. So frustration there for Blackpool's goal scorer. Ooh, yes, I think it's the right decision. I think that Kenny Powell does well there in terms of deflecting the ball off Bowler. Surprised he didn't really notice that himself, actually. Looking at that replay there, I thought it was quite clear to me that he got the final touch. But a corner kick not to be. 57 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. QPR 0, Blackpool 1. Roberts and Laird now exchanging passes down the right-hand side. But Roberts' ball over towards Dazelle is stopped here by Fiorini. And now Lavery pushed off the ball there by Rob Dickey. That's got to be a free kick to Blackpool. Dickey trying to really act surprised there in front of referee Andrew Davies. But the referee won't be swayed, confirming that it is a free kick and asking for the ball to be taken. In fact, no, it's been given as a throw after all of that. I must admit, I thought the final touch was of the Blackpool man, so it's almost like the referee didn't want to give the foul but still gave Blackpool possession. In any case, Thompson with the long throw. Taken down here by Yates, and now it's with Fiorini, but he had 3 QPR players around him. Couldn't really do anything with that one. And an outside of the boot pass from Dazelle, easily swept out into the stand by Ekpiteta. QPR with the throw now down the right-hand side. As I mentioned, no changes for Rangers as yet. Just to remind you, they have Masterson, Walsh, Adoma, Kakai, Armstrong, Hammerlinen and Shadipo on their bench this evening. Should Michael Beale want to make any changes? Well, it's Dazelle down the right-hand side. And it's back in towards Rob Dickey. Square now to Sam Field. He looked left for the option of Kenny Powell, but there were 2 Blackpool players in the way, so he just goes short now towards Ilyas Sher. He then goes out towards Kenny Powell down the left-hand side. He tries a cross, which is charged down by Connolly. Ball still kept alive here in midfield by Sher. Oh, Sher wanted a shot, and it's almost like Roberts got in his way. Then Roberts has an effort. He hits the deck just as he takes the shot. He's now holding his right thigh that's caused him problems there. In any case, the effort from Roberts goes a long way wide. So that was a decent chance there for QPR. I just wonder if Sher would have had a cleaner strike on goal or a cleaner sight of goal had it not been for Roberts trying to get a shot away himself. The ball then bounced back in favour of Tyler Roberts, who hit it again, but this time he struggled to stay on his feet. And hopefully this won't be a serious injury for him. He's had his injury problems already, has Tyler Roberts. Thankfully for him, though, he's back up on his feet. The QPR fans seem to be having a bit of a running argument here with goalkeeper Danny Grimshaw. I think the issue is that the match ball has suddenly gone missing in the stands, and the QPR fans were having a go at Danny Grimshaw for not restarting play, and he sort of pointed at Roberts saying, well, one of your own players still isn't up on his feet, so how can I restart play? And then he sort of pointed to the 6-yard box and said, well, I haven't even got the ball to restart play, but everything is back in order now. Roberts is back on his feet, still just, I wouldn't say hobbling, but just trying to check, putting some weight through that left foot. Looks like he's going to be okay, and long clearance now from Grimshaw. Miscued by Dunn at the edge of the QPR penalty area. Now Dunn and Yates fighting for the ball. Yates hits the deck. I don't think he's going to get a free kick for that. Cleared up towards the halfway line by Field, but that's well played by Ekpiteta to keep the ball alive. And then with Johansson sliding in, trying to win the ball off Connolly. It actually came off Johansson last, so it's a throw to Blackpool. They still keep possession inside the QPR half. Once again, Callum Connolly stealing about 10 yards from where the throw-on should have been taken. Just seems like the officials aren't particularly worried about that offence. But from that throw, bit of head tennis now as Fiorini trying to keep the ball here for Blackpool. He is dispossessed though. Cher trying to play an early ball up towards Dykes. That's a good header though from Rhys Williams. Ball back in midfield here for QPR. Jimmy Dunn finding Andre Dazelle. In the meantime, there's a Blackpool player sat down on the ground. I don't think QPR are going to put it out of play here, so wait to see which Blackpool player it is. But QPR on the attack now as a cross comes in from the left-hand side, punched away by Grimshaw. There's a Blackpool player down inside the penalty area as well. So now we've got 2 Blackpool players down on the ground, unless the one who was down on the ground inside the QPR box is back up on his feet. Referee has now spotted that Dominic Thompson seems to have a head injury. Or is it a head injury? Thompson is down on the ground, as is Lewis Fiorini. So 2 players down here for Blackpool right now. Physio's going to have to work out who to try and see first. But Thompson just seems to be a little bit dazed. So they're going to give him a few quick concussion tests there just to make sure that blow to the head wasn't too bad. And now let's wait and see how Thompson got this injury. Looks like he's caught by Lyndon Dykes, completely unintentionally, of course. There's nothing, Dykes isn't trying to do anything to Thompson there at all. But as Dykes is going for the ball, I think it's just a glancing blow there on Dominic Thompson. And he just needs a moment to try and get his bearings. Meanwhile, the other Blackpool physio, they normally have 2 physios working on the one player, but they've had to separate this time so that Lewis Fiorini can be checked over as well. Thumb up there though from the physio as far as Fiorini's concerned, so it looks like he should be able to carry on playing. There he is, limping quite badly there as he walks back towards the halfway line. Thompson looking a little bit groggy still. As I mentioned, on loan from Brentford, Dominic Thompson hasn't really had the time on the pitch for the Bees since he was signed. They actually signed him before their promotion, the season before they got promoted into the Premier League. They had a few appearances for Brentford before going on loan out to Swindon. Didn't really have any time on the pitch. He had a couple of appearances for Brentford in the Premier League last season before going on loan out to Ipswich. Never scored a professional goal as yet, Dominic Thompson. But in the meantime, Blackpool are going to make a change, and it turns out that Lewis Fiorini can't carry on. So Jordan Gabriel coming on here to replace Fiorini. And Gabriel on the field now. Just looking to see whether Thompson is able to play on. Looks like he is for the time being. So Blackpool making their second change. It's a uncontested drop ball. I don't even need to say uncontested because there is no such thing as a contested drop ball anymore as far as I can see. Still doesn't stop the players asking the referee every single time if they can go for it or not. The opposition players, that is. But I suppose that's just the nature of professional football, is always trying to steal that extra yard, win that ball back as quickly as possible. So I can't really blame them for always just double checking with the referee. As we're back underway now, and there's a real fight for the ball there on the left-hand side. It's a fight between the new player Gabriel and Lyndon Dykes, and Dykes feels as though it should be a corner. I'm not even sure if this has been given as a free kick or a goal kick here. I think the referee may have decided that Dykes just pushed over Jordan Gabriel. And that's precisely what's happened here, because it looks like Danny Grimshaw is taking a free kick here from right by the corner flag. So it wasn't a goal kick, it wasn't a corner. It was deemed a foul there from Lyndon Dykes. Long clearance there from Grimshaw, headed on by Kenny Dougal, but then it's easily hooked back towards his own keeper by Sam Field. The last 10 minutes possession, 70% for QPR, just 30 for Blackpool. But with 25 minutes to go in this game, it is still Blackpool who lead by a goal to nil. And here they come now with substitute Sam Carey out towards the other substitute here, Jordan Gabriel. Under pressure there from Paul, goes back to Carey. Under a bit of pressure, he underplays that pass. And Gabriel takes the consolation prize of a throw on there. Bit of a shame for Blackpool, just a slightly slicker bit of passing there. Could have seen them getting a ball into the box. But waiting to restart play now is Jordan Gabriel. And you can see that some of the QPR fans getting a bit frustrated at how long it's taking to work out what to do for this corner kick. But they have taken it now. Taken this throw, I should say. And Gabriel running straight into Stefan Johansson. So it's another throw to Blackpool down the right-hand side. Still with options here to try and get the ball. Just to tell you as well, the Huddersfield, although they're down to 10 men, they have pulled a goal back at Carrow Road. It's now 2-1 to Norwich City as Blackpool take the throw. The ball gets to the edge of there. A strike coming in from Bowler, and that forces a good save from Dieng. And then the follow-up effort from Lavery is wide and askew. But Josh Bowler, he's scored once already this evening, very nearly on the score sheet again. A good throw. And that's a lovely takedown as well from Jerry Yates. With his back to goal, he just tees it up for his left-footed teammate. It's a good strike as well from Bowler, and a good save from Timothy Dieng before the follow-up effort from Lavery, leaving a little bit to be desired there. And he actually put his hands up in apology. Just to tell you that it's Pat Jones who's got the goal for Huddersfield, so they've still got a chance in that game, although there's only 5 minutes to go there, and they are down to 10 men. Still no change in any of the other score lines in the Championship that I can see. Still the one game that's goalless. That's at Deepdale between Preston and Rotherham. Here come QPR. They're desperate to get their nil off the score sheet as quickly as possible. But the cross in there from Ethan Laird, cleared out by Thompson for a throw to QPR down the right-hand side. Ethan Laird now with the throw, gets it in towards Scher, and then deflects the ball off Kenny Dougal, out for another throw to QPR. It's Scher who takes it this time. He finds Laird, who just asks too much of himself there, really. Tried to play the ball down a very narrow right-hand channel there, and then run onto it as a quick player, but it wasn't to be. It's out for a goal kick. Meanwhile, we're going to see a change, a first change of the evening for Queen's Park Rangers, and it's Stefan Johansson who is getting the hook. He's off, and it's Sinclair Armstrong that comes on to replace him. So Sinclair Armstrong, dare say he's going to be asked to just try and get a little bit further forward. And, Michael Beale just using that moment of stoppage in play just to get a quick message here to his players. I think there may be a change of formation here for QPR. I'll keep an eye on exactly what Michael Beale is trying to do here. But with 22 minutes to go, there is still time for QPR, of course. They are only a goal down. But there hasn't been too much work here for Grisha. That's a strong challenge, though, from Marvin Ekpiteta. And he's going to get a booking here for that one. He goes crashing in on the new player, Sinclair Armstrong. He's barely had a time to have a jog on the pitch here, Sinclair Armstrong, and he's already been slammed into the advertising boards here. That's a very, very strong. In fairness to Armstrong, he does about 7 forward rolls after he's challenged, so it may not be the case that the challenge was as strong. But there's a little foot up there from Ekpiteta after he challenges as well. It's quite an aggressive foul there from the Blackpool captain. Obviously wanting to leave his mark on Sinclair Armstrong, because Sinclair Armstrong is a big player. He is a very tall player, very stocky. He's a 19-year-old coming from Ireland. His time in the lower leagues as well with Torquay and Aldershot. On loan to Aldershot last season. But here comes the free kick to QPR, punched away by Grimshaw. Kept in play down the right-hand side here by Armstrong. Needs some support. And got it from field. Plays it back towards the halfway line here for Paul. Now it's Dazelle. No route to go forward down the right-hand side. So back towards the halfway line, where Paul, being one of the smaller players here for QPR, he tends to stay behind for set pieces. And he tries a long ball now, but that's not the best ball at all. Thompson there with not the best header, but in fairness, Quick round of applause there from Thompson towards his goalkeeper, because he knew that the header back, and it was the right idea from Thompson to head it back towards Grimshaw, but he put a bit too much pace on the header, very nearly gave away a corner kick. But his keeper Grimshaw was quick off his line and stopped that from happening. Just to tell you that at Ibrox, Rangers are 2 up against PSV. The two former Dutch teammates, Van Bronckhorst against Van Nistelrooy, in terms of the two managers in that game. But it is Van Bronckhorst's Rangers who are 2-1 up in that game. Kolak cancelled out Sangari's early goal for PSV, and now it's Lawrence with the goal for Rangers. And that game is about 3, even 4 minutes ahead of ours, just because I think they didn't have any injury time at the end of the first half. I think they started about a minute before us as well. But we're at coming up to 71 minutes gone here at Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Blackpool 1. And the ball now with Rob Dickey playing it back towards Dieng. Yates is closing that down, and that's just put a bit of pressure on Dieng, but in fairness to him, it doesn't clear it. He plays a great pass towards Ethan Laird on the halfway line, down the right-hand side. Dezelle is off on the run now, needs some support, and the ball deflects off Lavery. Thompson is chasing it. It's not going to get there, though, so QPR now with a corner kick. Chance to get players into the box and test this goalkeeper Grimshaw, because he's looked a little bit nervous on crosses. A couple of what I would say catchable crosses he's just punched away, which is always a little bit more risky. This is QPR's first corner kick, by the way. It's taken nearly 72 minutes for Rangers to get their first corner kick, and the referee just having a quick word here with Dominic Thompson and Lyndon Dykes, because the two of them really are pushing and shoving each other. Dykes is unhappy here. Turns to the referee to complain, but it looks like we're going to see this corner. Well, there's a short corner kick option there as well. But it looks like it's going to be whipped in here by Dezelle. Puts well, he doesn't put enough pace on that. That one's hooked up in the air, still bouncing at the edge of the penalty area. There's a Blackpool man down with a head injury. Not sure the referee spotted him, because Jordan Gabriel brings the ball away, and suddenly the visitors are on the counter-attack. Here is Carey breaking into the box. Carey just forced a little bit out wide there. That's good play from... it's good play there from Laird to try and push him out wide, and in the end the ball just goes out for a goal kick. But that looked like a promising counter-attack for Blackpool at one stage, and you've got to credit Ethan Laird there coming back and taking care of that problem, because it did look as though QPR would be stretched at one point. Still Blackpool with that one goal from Josh Bowler in the first half. A good effort it was as well. Has put them 1-0 up. QPR trying to get back into this game, but that's a wayward ball as well from Rob Dickey, as Armstrong just turns to his teammate there and having a bit of a go at him, because it wasn't a good ball. There was very little chance of Sinclair Armstrong getting on the end of that one. And now it's Dominic Thompson with the throw. Long throw as well from Thompson. That goes straight to Rob Dickey, though. He then plays it back towards Jimmy Dunn. And Dunn looks like he may have been caught by Yates there. He stayed on the ground as Jimmy Dunn. He's only just picked himself up now. QPR have possession, though, down the right-hand side with Laird, and now Dezelle. He's got players ahead of him. Dezelle to Armstrong. Back to Dezelle. Now Tyler Roberts. Two Blackpool players in front of him. The ball is now back over towards the right-hand side. Quick 1-2 there between Laird and Roberts. Roberts into the penalty area, but he's got Thompson on his back, trying to turn away from him. Does well to find Laird, and then Laird plays it across the 6-yard box. That's really good play there in defence. I think it was Williams with the clearance. Just double check that with the replay, but that was really good play. That was a really good ball across the 6-yard box. Just needed a touch from a player in a blue and white hoop shirt, but it wasn't to be. Looks like Laird was onside when he played that ball in. Just eludes Armstrong, and it was Ekpiteta that got his foot on it in the end. Decent clearance there. He's had a busy evening, has the Blackpool captain, but he's responded by and large to everything that has been asked of him. And then hooked up by Cher, looking for Dykes. He's had a couple of good crosses. He's had a bit of service this evening. Dykes probably would have liked a couple of other chances as well. But you just get the feeling that Blackpool are starting to just sit a little bit deeper now, trying to soak up pressure with 15 minutes to go in this game. Elias Sher down the left-hand side. Good ball from Paul to find Armstrong. Armstrong with a cross on the run, but it's just a little bit too close to the keeper. And Grimshaw comes out and makes a good save. There was a bit of bounce on that ball as well, so he had to make sure that he held on to it. We're into injury time now in terms of the 7:45 kickoffs in the Championship. So I'll give you a rundown of the full-time scores, unless we get any injury time goals in those games. But here come QPR now. Paul's cross into the box from the left-hand side, easily hooked away there by Sonny Carey. And it's gone all the way back towards the edge of the QPR penalty area now, where Jimmy Dunn just plays a quick ball towards field. But already a couple of Blackpool players pressing, so it's played back towards Dieng. Roberts now down the right-hand side to Laird, played forward, and Armstrong now couldn't quite carry on the run himself, leaves it for Dazelle. Dazelle inside towards Dykes. Dykes with options, but he decides just to hold it up and play it back over to Laird down the right-hand side. Now is Dazelle, runs straight into trouble in the form of Kenny Dougal. Played back towards Rob Dickey now, who carries on his run and then plays a ball out towards the left here for Kenny Parr, who lifts the cross over everybody. And that one is out for a throw to Blackpool down their left-hand side. But a look of exasperation there from Michael Beale, because he'll know that for all that build-up, his side needed a better cross into the box than what they got in the end. And a throw on here to Blackpool, but it's right by their own corner flag. So certainly plenty of incentive here for QPR to try and get forward and press, which is what they do. Dickey with the header from Thompson's throw, but it goes straight out. It's going to be another throw to Blackpool down the left-hand side. Dominic Thompson waiting to take it now. Being harangued by the QPR fans to get a little bit further back, but it's a long throw. Doesn't quite get through to Lavery, but it's a bouncing ball sent back to Dieng, which was an incentive there for Yates to chase that down. Dieng, though, clears it no problem, and now headed forward by Ekpiteta. Dougal here for Blackpool finds Sam Carey, and chance here down the right-hand side now for Josh Bowler. Cuts in onto his left foot and plays a good ball. I should have waited another split second before I said he plays a good ball. I thought it was a good ball to Shane Lavery. Is that a case of Lavery just getting a little bit too far forward? That'll be frustrating for Michael Appleton, because his side looked like they were going to build something there in attack, and ultimately it comes to nothing. QPR back in possession, still inside their own half though. Some options here. Does Rob Dickey. Laird now plays it down the right-hand side. That's a good challenge though. Sliding in was Dominic Thompson. Throw to QPR, Laird to Roberts. Now Armstrong couldn't quite turn away from Rhys Williams there. But then the ball out from Blackpool goes straight to Rob Dickey. Now it tees up here for Sher, who hits it with the left foot. Gets it on target, and there's a little bit of movement on that strike as well. But you always felt as though Grimshaw was stood in the right position to make the save. And in the end, yeah, it was just getting away from his body a little bit. But comfortable, strong hands there from Blackpool's goalkeeper. I was going to say from Blackpool's number 1, but he's actually got 32 on his shirt number. And this evening's substitute keeper, Chris Maxwell, is the one who's actually got the number 1 shirt. But Grimshaw so far doing well to preserve his clean sheet. And it's got another 11 minutes to go, and there's an offside against QPR as well. So this just slows things down, just gives the managers another chance to get some instructions out to their players. It's a second change here for QPR, and it's Tyler Roberts that's getting the hook. He's not had the most. He's not had the best evening there, Tyler Roberts. But in fairness, he has. You certainly can't fault his effort this evening. Just perhaps lacking a little bit of end product. But he's been replaced, and it is now Shadibo who's come on in his place. Olamide Shadibo now coming on for these last 11 minutes. And you can see Roberts just a little bit unhappy there as he was going off the field. Well, don't forget, of course, that this was someone who, under Marcelo Bielsa, was being sort of moulded into a central midfielder almost, and he had quite a few appearances under Bielsa. There were some injury problems for Roberts at Leeds United as well. And it just seemed that from the start of this season, Jesse March, for the time being at least, doesn't see Roberts in his first team plans. Second half stats: 4 shots from QPR, 2 on target, 2 shots from Blackpool, 1 of them was on target. 70% possession though for Rangers, just 30 for Blackpool, as the ball goes over the top down the left here for Sinclair Armstrong. He holds it up and goes for goal himself at the near post. Good save from Grimshaw. Perhaps the more orthodox option there would have been to try and cross it, but he tried to surprise the keeper, forced a good save from Grimshaw. Now it's Ilyas Sher down the left-hand side, edge of the penalty area. Can't quite get the ball in himself. Plays it square to Dizelle, who sets himself up on the left foot and clips a cross in. Thompson with the header, just gets there ahead of Dykes, and then it turns out that there was an offside against Lyndon Dykes in any case. But that was a great chance for Sinclair Armstrong after the ball was clipped over to him. It's a great ball from Ilyas Sher to pick out Armstrong. But then when his effort goes towards the near post, Grimshaw wasn't stood up perfectly on his near post, you have to say that. So Armstrong very much within his rights to go for goal there. And it's a good save in the end from Blackpool's Grimshaw. And I can tell you that we've had an injury time goal for Millwall. They were 2-0 down away at Swansea. But would you believe it? It's Ben Cabango, who knows all about Swansea, of course. Looks like it's an own goal from him then in that case. Yes, it was an own goal from Cabango on 93 minutes. And then a second goal for Blackpool, on Millwall, I should say, on 95 minutes. So Swansea, who were 2-0 up since the 11th minute at the Liberty, now find themselves 2-2. With Millwall with just seconds to go in that game. We've pretty much had full time everywhere else apart from Birmingham and Watford, so I'll give you a rundown in just a second. But in the meantime, QPR have won themselves a free kick. That's ridiculous, frankly, from Rhys Williams. He was holding on to Armstrong initially and then literally trying to rip the shirt off his back. Referee Andrew Davies couldn't ignore that, so it is going to be a free kick now to the home side. Pretty much on the line on the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Great opportunity for QPR to now whip a ball into the box. Can tell you that the second goal for Millwall was also an own goal. Haven't told us the goal scorer yet, the own goal scorer yet, but that's going to be quite a moment there for Swansea to be 2 up in injury time at home to Millwall, then to concede 2 goals from own goals. It's quite incredible. And that game is finished now as well, so it's just this 8 o'clock kickoff being played in the Championship now. And a free kick to QPR, left-hand edge of the penalty area. There's enough of an angle to try and shoot, and certainly enough of an angle to try and get a cross in, as the ball is whipped in and it's headed up in the air and away for a corner. Good header there at the near post. Looks like it was, who got on the end of that? We'll just see from the replay. It was Kenny Dougal got his head to that one. It's out for a corner kick to QPR. Ilyas Sher is across to take this. All the fans there are pointing to get it into the box. Don't do a short corner, just get it whipped in. And that's what Sher does. He does get it whipped in. It's a good header away, though. There's a clash of heads inside the penalty area. Dominic Thompson is down again. A strike comes in. It's a long way over the bar. Thompson once again holding his face there. A little bit unnecessary maybe from Dykes to try and force Thompson to get up. I mean, of course, there has been a suggestion that players will use the fact that they get head injuries. I mean, he gets slapped across the face there, Thompson. Maybe even a forearm to the face there from Jimmy Dunn, who's certainly a pretty big player himself. So Thompson on this occasion didn't need the physio, but just needed a second to pick us up. So now I can run through the scores in the Championship. Birmingham City 1, Watford 1 is how it finished in that game. Bristol City 2, Luton Town 0. Burnley 1, Hull City 1. Norwich City 2, Huddersfield Town 1, Preston 0, Rotherham 0, and as I mentioned, Swansea were 2 up against Millwall, but 2 own goals in the last 2 minutes of injury time in that game. Cabango and Wood with the own goals, cancelling out their own teammates' efforts from Manning and Obafemi earlier in the game, and it finishes 2-2 down in South Wales. Meanwhile, back here in West London, we're waiting for another substitution for QPR. It's Albert Adoma who's getting ready to come on. So we'll see in just a moment who he's going to replace. Attacking winger, of course, Albert Adoma. So it may well be and it's just a case of replacing it. But in the meantime, there's got to be a free kick and a yellow card here for Reece Williams. He was holding on to Sinclair Armstrong's shirt the entire time that Armstrong was running down the right hand side. The referee and the linesman didn't do anything with it. A cross now coming in, which is straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. Now we can see Armstrong arguing with the referee. Andrew Davies saying, well, you were holding on to his shirt as well. And, well, is it 6 of one, half a dozen of the other? I would say it's more like 9-3 in favour of the QPR player there. I think that Armstrong was being held on to more then. But the referee didn't agree. And slowly time is ticking away for QPR now. We've got less than 5 minutes of regulation time. Have had a few injury stoppages and substitutions, so you can expect 3 or 4 minutes of injury time. I wouldn't expect much more than that. Here is the substitution for QPR. There's a substitution for Blackpool being readied as well. Looks like it's going to be Theodore Corbeanu who's going to be coming on as well. We'll see who he's replacing. In the meantime, is this the QPR change first? Yes, it's Kenny Powell to go off here for QPR. And he's replaced by Albert Adoma. But you can be sure that Albert Adoma is not going on here to play as left back. He's going to be asked to push on and try and get that late equaliser for Queen's Park Rangers. The other change is going to be for Blackpool. And as I mentioned, it's Theodore Corbeanu who's going to be coming on. And he replaces the goal scorer, Josh Bowler, who's put in a shift for Blackpool this evening. And as it stands, it's his goal that's going to give his side all 3 points. Looking for their second win of the season, having beaten Reading on opening day and then lost their next 2 games. It's important to try and arrest these early slumps in the season. Of course, it's such a long season in the Championship, and plenty of twists and turns. One of the hardest leagues to call, I think, in terms of not just in terms of who's going to win it, but in terms of relegation and in terms of just week by week what the results are going to be. It is a very, very tough league to call. Very, very closely contested, but of course no surprise when you consider what the prize is for winning this division or getting a promotion out of it. A chance to play in the Premier League, something that's of course both Blackpool and QPR have experienced in the last sort of 10-12 years. Blackpool had that 1 season under Ian Holloway, manager of course who's very well known in these parts around QPR as well, of course. Almost a legend really for the amount of times that he's managed the club and had promotions, ups and downs with QPR, Ian Holloway. But Ian Holloway and all the people out there who are trying to wish QPR the best this evening, they'll be frustrated with the way this game has gone, because really you've got to say that Blackpool have held firm in this second half. QPR perhaps just lacking a little bit of invention at times. You certainly can't fault QPR's effort. The energy levels have been there. They haven't given up, but they've just perhaps struggled to find the right formula to trouble Blackpool time and again. Now they're going to try down the right-hand side. Strong challenge coming in. Thompson and Laird both appealing it's ours, and the linesman in the end going with the Blackpool man. Doesn't stop Ethan Laird being very, very frustrated there. That decision went against him. It is going to be a goal kick now to be taken by Grimshaw into the last 90 seconds of regulation play here at Loftus Road. And just a quick glance over at the game at Ibrox. It's now 2-2. Of course, away goals don't count in European competition anymore. But Obispo has got the equaliser for PSV. And you just felt, even with away goals or not, you just feel that Rangers need some sort of lead to take to Holland next week, because it's going to be very tough at PSV. Of course, Ibrox isn't exactly an easy place to play either for an opposition player, but certainly you feel that PSV, if they hold on to that scoreline of 2-2, PSV will feel as though they're very much favourites to get through the second leg. But QPR, here they go down the right-hand side. It's with Laird. He gets the ball to the edge of the area, and it's a strike coming in from Sinclair Armstrong. He's sat up nicely for him, but he puts his left foot through it, but it's a bit of a scuffed effort from Armstrong in the end. As he turns, it's not never looked like being on target really, and it's away for a goal kick. Less than 30 seconds to go now. We can see Michael Beale getting a little bit frustrated, as indeed are a couple of the QPR coaches as to how long it's taking Grimshaw to restart play here, which of course is a very hot topic now because we are just seconds away from seeing Jeremy Simpson, our fourth official, who will confirm that there is, I'm predicting 4 minutes, it may even be 5 actually, thinking about all the stoppages that we've had. But the 90 minutes are up now, and the fourth official is showing 4 minutes on his board, so 4 minutes for QPR to try and get an equaliser here as the long ball is played towards Armstrong. He gets to the right-hand edge of the field, leaves it now for Laird. Ethan Laird now lifting across into the penalty area, headed away and back into midfield. Jerry Yates now almost playing as a defensive midfielder just to try and get numbers back for Blackpool. Played it up to Lavery, who ran straight into Rob Dickey. So here come QPR again, but that's a very poor ball. Pumped long there and straight into the arms of goalkeeper Danny Grimshaw. According to the TV pictures I'm getting, it's Marvin Ekpiteta who's the man of the match, or the player of the match as they have to now be known. And I would not disagree with that. I think Ekpiteta's had a very good performance this evening. But here come Blackpool now for the bonus. Babs, there's a strike coming in. It's a tight angle for Corbanu, and his effort in the end going wide. I don't think he needed to rush that shot, the Canadian, as quickly as he did. I think he could have just held on to that, perhaps wait to see where his teammates were. But in the end, the strike going just wide of the goal. And QPR now playing out from the back, but stopped there by Corbanu on the left-hand side was Adoma. And so just seconds just 2 minutes of injury time still to play here at Loftus Road. QPR looking for a long ball now up towards the edge of the area, hooked up in the air and back into midfield, played forward now by Connolly, who's gone into more of a midfield role since Jordan Gabriel has come on. Connolly has clearly gone into a central midfield role with Gabriel out wide, but here is a run now from Corbanu. It's a good run as well. Stops his run just at the edge of the 6-yard box. Tees it up here for Yates. Yates' strike deflects into the path of Lavery, who lifts it over the bar. That could have been game, set and match for Blackpool, and Lavery rush of blood to the head there. There's a little bit of movement on the ball as well, but I'm not going to give him too many excuses. He's a good enough player to have done better with that effort there, really, Lavery. And Blackpool very nearly just completely wrapping the game up now with just under 2 minutes to go. It's all over at Ibrox, by the way, and it's finished Rangers 2, PSV 2. As a good run there from Sinclair Armstrong. He's brought down though, and Corbanu is full of energy since he's come on. He was brought down there, but the referee plays the advantage, and here comes Yates now with a couple of tricks at the edge of the area, finds Corbanu. Corbanu taking a shot on himself. Why has he not played it to Lavery? He should have done. And Sonny Carey was breaking into the box. Well, it's actually Carey that got further forward there. There's a QPR man down, but QPR aren't going to put the ball out of play. It's their own time they're wasting if they do that. They've got to try and use this last minute. Here is Ilyas Sher now down the left-hand side. His cross gets a slight deflection. It drops to Lyndon Dykes. Heavy touch from Dykes though, and I think is he given a free kick away there? No, the referee says play on. Cross now hooked in by Adoma, and the header is over the bar from Sinclair Armstrong. That's the chance that QPR needed. A good ball into the biggest player on the pitch, and Armstrong heads it wide, and he heads it a long way wide as well. As good a chance as that was. And we'll see from this replay here, it's a lovely ball in from Adoma. No offside there against Armstrong. He does well to get past. I mean, the marking from Blackpool leaves a lot to be desired there, it has to be said. Riding their luck a little bit are the visitors, but the header over the bar in the end from Armstrong, and that may well be it, because we've pretty much had the 4 minutes of injury time now. Blackpool still looking to make a fourth change here. I'm not even sure if they're going to get time to do it. Referee just looking across, and it looks like it is going to be Shane Lavery, who had a couple of really good bright moments in the first half. Didn't see so much, but Jordan Thornley now comes on to replace him for these final seconds. I'm not even sure if Thornley is going to get a touch of the ball, but if he's on an appearance bonus in his contract, then it's happy days for him, because as I say, we're over the minutes of injury time now, and the referee Andrew Davies looks at his watch and blows his whistle. Blackpool have a precious 3 points and a clean sheet away from home, beating Queen's Park Rangers after Josh Bowler's strike in injury time at the end of the first half. Frustrating night for Rangers, who had the possession, who had the chances, but just lacked that killer instinct in front of goal. So it's all over at Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Blackpool 1. From myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, thank you very much, and do join us again soon.